Moving on next to the headlines segment where Epiphania will be telling us about what's happening in these three different countries, Sudan, Algeria, and Rwanda, and which papers she would be reading from. Stay tuned, don't go away.
Headlines across Africa.
Headlines across Africa.
Headlines across Africa.
Headlines across Africa.
Well, today for Headlines Across Africa, we're headed to Sudan, Algeria, and Rwanda. And we'll be starting from Sudan, where we're reading from the Sudan Tribune newspaper. The headlines for the Sudan Tribune says 40 people killed in fresh intercommunal violence in West Darfur. 40 people have been killed in fresh clashes, intercommunal clashes in West Darfur State. This was said by a UN Office for Humanitarian Coordination in Algeria on Monday. Now, reports from the West Darfur capital confirmed the tribal fighting when identified gunmen killed 2 Masalit and wounded 2 others who were heading to the Algeria on Saturday, 3rd April. Since 4th April, gunfire has been reported in Hay al-Jabal and Aj Jamarik neighborhoods. Now, the government Humanitarian Aid Commission reports that 40 people have been killed and 58 injured. The Sudanese authorities did not dispatch troops to stop the fighting despite the important force deployed in the state after the previous tribal clashes. No official statement has been issued on the intercommunal attacks. Only a doctor's local community has said 18 people were killed as a result of the fighting. However, a declaration of the state of emergency was announced in Khartoum by the National Security Council after a meeting held on Monday. The official news agency said the state governor would hold a press conference on Tuesday. Mohamed Al-Doma has been accused of being involved in the violence. Now, the situation remains tense between the Masalit and Arab, and both groups are mobilizing forces. The tribal violence between the Arab tribes and Masalit in mid-January displaced over 108,000 people in the state. In a short statement that was released on its Facebook page on Monday, the European Union delegation in Khartoum expressed deep concern about the new wave of violence in West Darfur. Well, that's the story coming from the Sudan Tribune. In Sudan, we're headed over to Algeria. Now, in Algeria, we're reading from the Echo Rock portal, and the headline says, President Tebboune promises. No one is stronger than the state or above justice, President Tebboune has promised. Now, the president addressed and stressed the abundance of stocks of foods and the presence of financial potential that allows the needs of citizens to be covered by consumers' items, calling for a stay away from excessive consumption by Ramadan. President Tebboune added that oil stocks, for example, are sufficient for more than 3 months, in addition to the state's strategic and efficient stockpiles to cover all the food needs of citizens. The state is committed, and its financial potential allows, within 48 hours, ships to be brought to the ports of Oran, Algeria, Annaba, and regarding the scarcity of oil, despite its availability in factories, the president recalled the instructions he gave to the Minister of Commerce to face the situation. No one can destabilize the state, he said, adding that no one can destabilize the state to lift the president from the throne and warn the speculators, stressing that the state will not stand idly by in front of the owners of the dirty game. And he also said no one, no matter what his weight or size, can be above the state and justice. Now, in response to a question about the looted funds, the president renewed his pledge to recover the money smuggled abroad, noting that the issue was procedural and linked to the final judgment in this case, in which those involved are pursued, stressing that they will one day have to reveal the secret locations of these funds. The issue remains one of the most important objectives, but it remains subject to final judgment, he said. Now, he stated that most of the judicial rulings issued in this context are not final, and the appeal was lodged by the Supreme Court, and the president confirmed that the states had given their consent to operate in the file with Algeria, especially those related to the European Union countries, which he said were dealing with the law and not with passion or political will. Well, that is the story coming from the Echo Rock portal in Algeria. Finally, we're headed to Rwanda. where we're reading from the New Times newspaper. And the headline says, Gakaka Archives proposed for UNESCO's heritage list. Gakaka court archives could be registered to UNESCO's documentary heritage listing on the recommendation of a national committee that is set to assess and discern different historical, cultural, and documentary heritage that can be listed on the World Heritage List. The committee is composed of different institutions under the guidance of Rwanda National Commission for UNESCO, librarians, archivists, directors of memory institutions, historians, researchers, academics, and individual resources from civil society, private and public institutions working or interested in historical, cultural, and documentary heritages. Documentary heritage is a fundamental inheritance of culture and historical memory that must be transmitted to future generations in the best possible condition. And archives are the centers responsible for dealing with, conversing, and spreading the word about this heritage. The UNESCO's Memory of the World program was initiated in 1992 with the aim of preserving the richness of different states which were threatened by wars, inadequate preservation systems, illegal trading like the one for the Maya cultural statutes, and lack of resources, looting and dispersal, with destruction among others. The program seeks to preserve, protect, safeguard human documentary heritage against collective amnesia, neglect, and the ravages of time and climate conditions. Now, we have among the documentary heritages that have been proposed by historians, archivists, and researchers is the Gakaka justice system. According to Albert Mutesa, the Secretary General of Rwanda National Commission for UNESCO. After the 1994 genocide against Tutsi, where over 1 million people were killed, Rwanda initiated the Gakaka courts to handle genocide crimes. And Gakaka is a homegrown community-based justice system. Now, through Gakaka courts, Rwandans prove the capacity to solve their own problems, to mend the social fabric, reveal the truth about the genocide, which had been prepared for a long time. Moreover, Gakaka courts were used as one of the ways to eradicate impunity and a lesson to respect human rights, especially the right to life and equality of all Rwandans before the law. Well, there's a story coming from the New Times newspaper, very interesting and good one, in Rwanda. That's all we have for you for Headlines Across Africa.
Okay. Thank you very much, Epi.